Hello everyone, and welcome to this video. My name is Sean, and I work as an engineer down in Maryland. Engineers get to help people solve problems every day, and sometimes we get to make machines. Today, I'm going to show you how you can make your very own ancient kind of machine called a catapult.
First things first, we're going to want to make sure that we protect our eyes. These are a set of safety goggles. Engineers wear these to make sure that we don't hurt our eyes when we work with machines. Go ahead and ask your parents if they have a set of these around the house. If not, a pair of sunglasses or a face shield should work just fine for this project. Here are two catapults that we will be making today. The first one is a popular design that I found on the internet. I'm calling this one the Reclining Catapult. The second one is a little bit bigger, and I'll be calling that one the Upright Catapult. So what does a catapult do? A catapult is a machine for launching things into the air. For us, we will be launching aluminum foil, paper, or even bouncy balls. See which one works best for you. To make the reclining catapult, you will need at least 11 popsicle sticks and 10 rubber bands. Take 3 popsicle sticks and wrap them up into a stack using 2 rubber bands. You're going to want to repeat this process for another stack of 3, and then again for a stack of 5 popsicle sticks. Now take one of the stacks with 3 popsicle sticks in it and lay it down on the table. Put the stack of 5 on top of it to make a T, and then place the remaining stack of 3 popsicle sticks on top. Go ahead and lock down these piles together with 2 rubber bands where all the piles meet. You should end up with a little X pattern in the middle. For the last step, add 2 rubber bands to the smaller legs of the T that we made. It should end up looking like a big clothespin. Be sure not to tighten these rubber bands too much, otherwise it will be very hard to use this catapult. Let's get started with the upright catapult. For this one, you need 21 popsicle sticks and at least 25 rubber bands. First, we're going to make a center brace. Make 2 piles of 2 sticks each. Make these rubber bands nice and tight. Then attach those piles together using 2 rubber bands. This time, you don't want to make these rubber bands too tight. Only go around 3 or 4 times. They need to be a bit loose for later. Next, we have the throwing arm. Lay out 6 sticks in an alternating pattern like this, and lock them all together using 4 evenly spaced rubber bands. Make these ones nice and tight. Now we will make a double triangle base. Lay out 6 sticks in an alternating pattern at an angle to each other, and leave a little bit overhanging so that we can lock them together later with a rubber band. Repeat the same over-under pattern until you have a nice triangle with rubber bands on each corner. You are going to need 2 of these triangles. Once you have both constructed, make sure that they are evenly placed one on top of another. Once they are nice and even, take the cross brace that we made earlier and attach it to the triangles that we just finished. Put rubber bands on each end of the center brace to make sure that it is being held nice and tight. Lean the triangles together at the top and attach a rubber band or 2. Then, lean one of the other corners together and attach them with a rubber band or 2. Then you're going to want to slide the center brace to the opposite side from where you have attached the triangles together. It should look something like this. Now we're going to want to add some guides for the throwing arm. Go ahead and slide a stick in between the rubber bands that you use to attach the corners together. Do this for each side. Now to attach the throwing arm, you need to run a rubber band from the bottom corner over the top of the cross brace and hook it onto the bottom of the throwing arm. You're going to want to do this with 3 rubber bands. I'm only showing 1 here. Also, don't forget to add 1 rubber band to the middle of the throwing arm on the top of the triangle. You will have to make some small adjustments to get your catapult to sit nice and flat on the table, but once you're done, it should be fully functional. Now that we are finished building 2 different catapults and have had some time to use them, let's take a minute and think about how they work. On the reclining catapult, we have these 2 rubber bands that snap together and launch the ball. This is very similar to how the upright catapult, where we have 3 rubber bands that snap together when we release the throwing arm. In both cases, it is the rubber bands that are causing the throwing arm to launch the ball. Engineers like to say that when these rubber bands are snapping back together, that is a tension force being applied to the throwing arm from the rubber bands being pulled together. Now there was this guy who spent a lot of time looking at springs. His name was Robert Hooke. Springs are pretty close to rubber bands in the sense that if you stretch one, they'll want to snap back just like a rubber band. Hooke noticed that if he stretched the springs apart further, the springs would snap back even harder. He also noticed that if he added more springs or got bigger springs, he would even get more of a snapback. He wrote all of this up for us in a nice little equation that we now call Hooke's law. Using Hooke's law to help us keep things straight, we can see that if we add more rubber bands to the catapult, we should be able to throw the ball further. Another way that Hooke's law shows us that we can get more of a snapback out of our rubber bands is to stretch them out a longer distance. Feel free to play around with both of these ideas, changing rubber bands and stretching them out further, and see how far you can get the catapult to throw the ball. Just be careful not to break the rubber bands. Thanks for watching, and I hope you had a great time building some catapults.